We believe health is the foundation that unlocks freedom. The freedom to live fully, to be an asset and not a burden, and to chase what truly matters. Through daily practices and proven frameworks, we are here to help you build deep health, find lasting peace, and live with your heart on fire. Welcome to The Chase. Hello and welcome back to the show. Patrick here, as always, with Ben. How are you, buddy?
Doing good, Patrick.
we've got a listener question this time around. It's from our
Cool.
Chase Club member. His name is Jeff. Just as a reminder, Chase Club is our premium membership. You can get ad-free episodes, as well as every weekday in the morning, we send out something called the Daily Chase, which is a short, focused essay for you to start your day thinking in the right direction. So if you want to join us, chasingexcellence.email is the place to get all that. And then, of course, we try to answer Chase Club members' questions in episodes here. So this, again, is from Jeff. Thanks for sending it along. He said, I wanted to thank you and Ben for the episode on Maslow's hierarchy. Ever since then, the hierarchy has been floating around in the back of my head. One thing occurred to me. Have you guys considered the interaction between people at different levels of the hierarchy, or how close friends and family members can influence an individual's place in the hierarchy? There's a friction that can develop between people at different levels, and I wonder how to cope with it. I have a severely handicapped, chronically ill child. I have come to accept that I sit at level 2, which is safety. Yet I am surrounded by people at levels 3 and 4 in both my work and family. Work in particular is pushing for level 3 and 4 accomplishments, but they just don't matter to me when I'm worried about surviving the night. Yet I need work as part of level 2. So just before we start kind of getting into this, Ben, I just want to do a very quick reminder as to what Maslow's hierarchy is. It was developed by psychologist Abraham Maslow in 1943. It's a theory that describes human motivation and personal growth through a 5-tier model. The hierarchy is typically depicted as a pyramid with 5 levels from bottom to top. At the bottom is physiological needs like food, water, sleep. Above that, safety needs like security and stability. Above that, love and belonging, relationships and connection. Above that, esteem, things like self-worth and recognition. And then at the top is self-actualization, which is when we reach our full potential. So again, just for folks, a little bit of context. I think there's a lot in this question, but where would you like to begin?
Oh boy. Maybe to start off with, not a lot of Abrahams anymore, are there?
Not a lot. Yeah.
No,
fell by the wayside, that one.
Yeah. Okay. Having established that, maybe the next thing is just...
and the episode's done.
And I think that... I think Jeff's an awesome... Like the amount of awareness that Jeff has is so cool. And the humility to actually say that I'm a level 2 dealing with people at 3 and 4 is inspiring. I mean, it's like, it's cool to just know that listeners out there are digesting and internalizing and having the humility. Because it's one of those things, like, I feel like if I take some sort of like assessment quiz, I'm like, I hope I score well.
Yep.
You know, it's like you have that thing where like, I hope I'm in the self-actual, I hope I'm the level 5. I hope I'm and for Jeff to go like raise his hand and be like, yo, I'm over here at level 2.
Yep.
That's really cool. And then to ask, have you thought about the dynamics interactions, challenges of people that are interacting between 2 levels is really cool. And it's probably something that we should have addressed in the original show about this. So cool to get to Jeff, to us, to circle back on this. I think it's a really great spot. I think maybe the first place to start is to lay a little bit of groundwork, not only just the different levels that you explained, but maybe it's to just peel that word away a little bit, because levels and this pyramid that it's always described as, I think is probably part of the crux of the matter. It's one of the reasons we've talked about this is very tangential to the mindset.
Yeah.
Right. Which is,
yes.
Yeah. You don't graduate from pessimist or from victim to pessimist to optimist you don't graduate and now you are there. It's not like I've gone through elementary school, then high school, and I get my diploma and I am a high school graduate. You go to college and I have my bachelor's degree, and it's like, that's who you are now. You go get your master's or PhD, and you are now. This is maybe if there's a way to describe this better, it wouldn't be the pyramid. It might be more like a landscape, or even better than a landscape. It might be like a house, right? And in the house, yeah, you might be on the top floor of the house, but as life takes place, you don't just stay there. You're going to move throughout the entirety of the house. And some people might be stuck in the basement. Some people might spend more time in whatever the penthouse, the top. But you're not there forever. And just because you might have strong love and belonging doesn't mean that you're never going to have to worry about safety, right? And the example of that is people get sick, they get cancer, or they get into a car accident. Now your health, your stability is now the most important thing. You are all of a sudden thrust into a bad neighborhood. Like, guess what? Like, you now are worried about your safety more than anything else. So it is that understanding that at different phases of life, certainly different seasons of life, you're going to spend different amounts of times in different areas. Now, having said that, we all would like to climb up to this place where we're spending more time at higher areas because, I think you've even said these words before, is like the goal is to have better problems. You have a nice way of saying that. It's like the problems are never going away. The goal is to solve better problems.
Yep.
And if we're solving for that first level, that's a really challenging life. Meaning you need to try to scrape together your next meal. You don't know where your food is coming from. You don't know where you're going to sleep tonight. You are extremely dehydrated. That's a really, really challenging place to live your life. So nobody wants to be there. We would so much rather have the problems we're facing of being like, where's my space in the universe? What is the meaning of life? Am I living out to my fullest purpose? Like that's the highest level. Now, the idea is, going back to our first episode recording this, you can't work on those problems if you're freezing to death. Yep. You're just worried about getting warm. So that's the idea behind this. Where Jeff is in this safety thing, where he's trying to create health for his child, and he's trying to get through the night, as he said.
Yep.
This is where the friction comes in. When you're there and you're working with people that are working on the esteem thing, this is the social game, right? Naval Ravikant's he's working on hierarchy in terms of social hierarchy. This is what esteem is like, I want to achieve. I want to climb the corporate ladder. I want status. I want recognition. When other people are playing that game and you're just trying to make it through the night, if people don't understand those two different perspectives, it can feel like, back to the house analogy, you're in the basement with a leaky roof and you're trying to patch the roof because you can't sleep because you have this Chinese water torture dripping on your forehead every night. And you're living in this kind of like really tough, you're not sleeping, you're cold, it's damp, you're in a basement, it's dark. The people up in the penthouse don't have that. It's not leaking there. So the communication between those two people can be really disconnected because they're having totally different experiences. Trying to bridge that gap is the way to kind of like smooth that over. And you'll recognize that, if you're in the basement and you're like Jeff's probably hearing things like, probably like stuff that people like. It's honestly, it's stuff that we talk about. It's like, you should journal. You should get a morning routine practice. You should go to the gym. What's your 5-year plan? Have you set out a vision? What are your routines? Like, he doesn't have space. Like, that's not on his radar yet. And it shouldn't be. You don't want to work on those problems. So the first thing is for Jeff to have a level of acceptance, which it sounds like he already does, honestly, that we need to fight our fights and it's okay. What might be helpful, and this can be hard, and I wouldn't say like, just Jeff, go do this. I would go, think about this, feel it out. Does it feel right? Are there people there that really care about you at your work, trust you, believe that you have your heart in the right place? And if so, at that place is where you could go, hey, I know that you're looking for me to be a bigger contributor. Hey, I know that you're asking me to help the company grow, improve these key metrics, improve this, work overtime, contribute more. Just explaining where I am in my life right now, I don't have the space for that. And being really honest and vulnerable. Now, I say that with that disclaimer before it. Because if you kind of go and say this and you're a team of, if you were on a part of Goldman Sachs, you might not have a job on Monday. Because if you're not a high performer, go get it. If we're not improving week over week, you're not going to be here. They're trying to weed people out. That's a telltale sign of being like, hey, I'm not here to be essentially what you can do though, is you can be really honest with people and go, look, I'm not looking for a promotion. I'm not looking for the next level. I'm not looking for a raise. Sometimes some employers go, whew, thank God, because I was worried I might lose you unless we promote you. That can be a relief to some people. Instead of just being really honest, what I'm trying to put all of my extra energy and resource into is the situation I got at home. And that can bring a lot of clarity and understanding, compassion from the other side when you are not bringing the 100% effort to the workplace, because you can't. But if they're expecting that and they don't know the struggles you're going through outside, that can be a big thing. And just go, I hope to be a huge contributor to this organization, to this team in the future. But for right now, in this near term, this is what I'm dealing with. So I think it's a way to kind of like just put the cards on the table and recognize people are approaching things from different places, and that's okay. Not everyone is in the same room in the house. We're all living in the same house, but we're not all in the same room.
Mm-hmm. Sticking on the work thing for a minute, the one thing I was thinking about, and obviously we don't know what Jeff does for work. So if it's the Goldman Sachs scenario, it could be, it's a lot harder than many of us, the situation many of us are in. But I was thinking about this particular challenge at work. And I think one of the things that Jeff or people in Jeff's position can start to think about is to recognize that the value they bring to whatever they do for work is, it's easy to think that the value is, well, I show up at 8:00 and I leave at 6:00. But the truth is the value you bring is probably very specific and very unique. And if you look at it through the lens of like an essentialist and you say, what are the one or two things that I do better than anybody else here, that if I continued to be the best at this thing, then my boss, my manager, my coworkers are going to let the other stuff slide, because everybody knows that, like, okay, Jeff doesn't respond to emails quickly, or he's never going to show up for the office birthday party, whatever it is. But man, his sales numbers are the best of anybody, or he, shows up in X, Y, and Z way that we can't replace in any way. So just recognizing that what is the value that I bring here at work, taking pride in that, taking ownership of that, and then creating really strict boundaries around the things I say yes to and the things I say no to, such that work never becomes the drain that Jeff can't afford. He can't afford a job that like, I got to check my email at 7:30 on Friday every night. I got to be on my computer at Saturday morning, whatever it might be. And so just really getting clear on what value do I bring here and what can I do to make sure that the value that I bring is so overwhelms the people I work with that I don't have to be the guy who is first one there and last one out, because to your point, Ben, that's not where my life is. And it just can't be what the priority is.
So good. This is a little counterintuitive to the message that we espouse a lot. In health, in life, we're trying to work on our weakest links, right? So if you can back squat 400 pounds, run a 5-minute mile, do 50 pull-ups. Okay, you're great in the gym. How's your eating? Great, you're eating well. How's your sleep? Oh, there it is. Yep. If you improve your sleep, it'll have a bigger impact on your health than improving your diet, or there's the law of diminishing returns, right? So what most people think about in business is I have to be that well-rounded. I have to work on my weaknesses. Yeah. That is the opposite approach that we should be taking. So what you're saying is, where am I going to have the greatest value and impact? The really kind of buttoned up little thing is double down, triple down on what you're the best at. Yeah. Like what are your strengths, and lean way into those. Okay. Email, not a strength. Get it. Like, filling out reports, get it. Really time consuming, not that thing. But you get someone on the phone and you can close a deal. Guess what? Like, go and like just do that, and tell your employer that this is what you're best at. This is what you can have the most impact on. And the other cool thing is, what you're good at probably doesn't feel like that much work to you. And this goes back to that, like, do what feels like play to you, but looks like work to other people. You put me on the phone trying to close somebody, I'm going to fumble. I'm going to get nervous before the call. I'm going to take 45 minutes to just try to figure out what I'm going to do. You get on the phone and you're just like, you can just do it because it's easy for you because you're so good at your natural. Lean into your strengths and try to, at all costs, avoid your weaknesses. You don't have the engineer, the code writer be your public spokesperson. You don't have a public spokesperson writing code for you. Like, you take what someone's really good at, and this is how you move forward in business. It's not even like a sports team necessarily. Yes, you have, well, maybe it is. You don't have your wide receiver blocking these defensive tackles, right? You know, your defensive tackles trying to go out and catch balls. You like specialize in business.
And a good coach and a good manager will know I got the right guy in the right position, and my job is to make sure nothing gets in his way so that my wide receiver is the best wide receiver that we can get.
You know what happens then as well is you start to get a little bit more towards that next level, which is, the first one is love. The next one up is love and belonging. But you start to get, you maybe get a little bit of that esteem because now you are a strong contributor. I would really just go into, like, if you worked at my gym, and you were like, hey, listen, I'm really struggling with some stuff at home right now. I'm in a season of life where I'm not going to be able to put in the extra bandwidth that I want to. I hope to be able to do that later on. But right now, the growth, I'm not really in that season. I want to contribute. I want to be a high contributor, but I need to use the space that I have right now in a different way. Do you think that instead of coaching classes, maybe I could be the person that does all the one-on-one onboarding for new members? You're like, yeah, actually, that sounds awesome. We could totally use that. The person is like, yep, now I don't have to be there at 9. I don't have to coach the 7, 8, 9. I can kind of work with my schedule. I put in Calendly. People figure out what time works for me. And I'm kind of working together with them. It's in a one-on-one setting. I don't get stressed out before. I don't have to be big presence. I can just kind of be compassionate. The thing I'm really good at based off of my example with my own kid. So I would just go towards, like you called it out, but like really go towards the way you could be the biggest contributor, add the most value. What are your biggest strengths? And what's going to be the less stress on you helps everything, right? It's going to help you with all the other levels as well.
Yeah, and I love what so when I said it was like figure out what you're doing that's really valuable and double. But I also like what you just said, which is sort of reverse engineer, Jeff, like, okay, this is my life. This is the space, the energy, the time I have for work. How can I reverse engineer my own limitations, the constraints that I have to put on this because this is the way that life is right now? And what can I do within those constraints to be the biggest, to be the best performer, to have the highest impact? So I think there's two ways to get at the same idea, which is how do I increase the value of my output without increasing the amount of my input. Let's pause to say thanks to a few sponsors, and we'll be right back to the conversation. We're sponsored this time around by Monarch Money, the financial tool that takes the emotion out of money conversations. Visit monarchmoney.com. Enter the code excellence to save 50% off your first year. Let's be real. Money talks with your significant other can get messy when you're dealing with feelings and assumptions. What you need is a neutral third party that just shows you the facts. And that's exactly what Monarch Money provides. It's like having an impartial financial advisor that displays all your shared and individual accounts in one clear dashboard. No more heated debates about spending, just clean, clear numbers that helps you make decisions together. We've been doing this here in the house for a while now, and I will tell you, it takes the temperature down on these conversations. You can track shared goals, review transactions without drama, and even share access with your financial advisor at no extra cost. Over 30,000 five-star reviews show how Monarch is helping couples have better conversations about money. Start making money talks easier at monarchmoney.com. Use the code excellence for 50% off your first year. We're brought to you by Ridge, whose intentional product design mirrors the intentional way we're all trying to live our lives here with the show. Head to ridge.com, use the code excellence to get 10% off of your order. If you are still carrying around a big old leather wallet in your back pocket, well, you're probably dealing with a lot of unnecessary bloat, maybe even some back pain from sitting crooked all day. Just like we're trying to eliminate what doesn't serve us in our lives, Ridge eliminates everything that doesn't serve a purpose in your wallet. Their sleek design holds up to 12 cards plus cash, made from premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. Do people still carry cash? I'm confused by this. It's backed by over 100,000 five-star reviews and comes with a lifetime warranty that is literally the last wallet you will ever need to buy. Visit ridge.com and for a limited time use code excellence to get 10% off your order. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the show and tell them that we sent you. Okay, now let's get back to the show.
Most of us define success by outputs, right?
Yep.
And I think that what we want to do is probably, for Jeff, is also give ourselves, if we're having a hard time getting to that love and belonging and esteem, it probably might make sense to also reflect a little bit on how do we define success.
Mm-hmm.
Because to have self-esteem, you need levels of success. That's really where it comes from. And instead of measuring your success by your next promotion, start to measure it by your presence at home. Like that's what success can be. As you said, you're aware enough to go like, hey, I just need this job for survival.
Yeah.
But success is not the job. Success is, can you keep your job and can you bring true impact to home?
Yep.
You know, it's not about how many boxes you're checking. It's about how well you carry this weight that you never asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you just do that to the very best of your ability? And that's a hard thing. Because it's not society's definition of success, you know, which is, do you have the BMW, the pretty wife, and take fancy vacations, and what's your Instagram account look like?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to do it on a way more meaningful level. Guess what? The people that are just chasing that esteem level and haven't done it for the right reasons don't get to that top level.
Yep.
You can almost bypass that level in a way and get to true, authentic meaning and purpose to your life if you redefine success along the way.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of the sort of middle tier, the love and belonging, the one thing I mean, again, we only know very little about Jeff's situation, but I think one of the things that could happen easily is self-isolation in pursuit of taking care of his kid, and being really clear that it doesn't have to be isolating any more than it has to be, if that makes sense. Like it's going to be isolating to the degree that it's going to be isolating, but it doesn't mean you can't build strong relationships with family members, which he mentioned, and colleagues, which he mentioned. For example, like if he's just like, I don't have any relationships with the people at work because I'm here, I do my job, and I leave and I go take care of my kid. I bet you can do your job better if your colleagues understand why you don't stick around on Friday nights to go to the bar, or why you are slow at answering your emails, and actually being vulnerable enough and open enough to create relationships, to create bonds with people who, maybe who don't have the same challenges as you, but recognizing that it's the opening up to them about the challenges that actually create the love and belonging that it seems like Jeff is like, I can't afford that. I can't have that. And when you do that, again, to your point, Ben, like that's the ratcheting up to the self-esteem, and that makes the safety and security level easier to the degree that it's going to be easier for Jeff because he's got a support system. He's got somebody he can lean on. He's not doing it alone. He's not isolated. He doesn't feel like it's him against the world.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to feel dismissed and misunderstood, alienated, isolated in Jeff's situation. And I think that the word you use is exactly right, is opening up and being vulnerable about your challenges. Like there's nothing that connects people more and builds more trust than vulnerability. Yeah. It's the exact opposite of what we all kind of intuitively feel, right? Which is this idea of like, if I show my weakness, it comes from like life, like warrior sense. Like if I show where I'm vulnerable, that's where I'm going to attack me. That's where they're going to attack. Exactly. Yep. Instead, what happens is you go, that's where I'm vulnerable. And it's like putting out, tentacles that attach. It's like you need to attach through these areas of vulnerability. It's the reason that I and so many people fall in love with Heather, my wife, is because she's so vulnerable. Like there's nothing that's off guard. And you meet her for the first time and she's right away talking about these absurd things that,
and you're like, oh shit, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah.
No, that's exactly what it is,
exactly
right?
It, yeah.
You're like, oh my God, so we're already there? We can do this? This is safe? We can have these conversations? Like, you're not going to try to impress me? You're going to just like put this all out there? People love it. It shows authenticity because we're all imperfect beings. Yep. We are all imperfect. Now, if you get surrounded by people that are hard ass, high performers in a negative way, that don't want to be around that at all because they see it as weakness, that can't be your crew anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not going to get any sort of meaningful life out of that anyway. So as you are vulnerable, as you are sharing your true challenges, if that's not resonating, and you have to do it in an EQ way, right? You can't just come out and like burst out like, this is what I'm struggling with, and this is what's so hard. And you have to do it appropriate time, place, tone, and level for everything.
Degree. Yep.
Degree is the right word. Thank you. But if we're able to do that and create those bonds, like it just allows for so much. First, as you said, is the obvious transactional aspect of why are we not getting emails back, in 12 hours? Like why sometimes does it take you 18 hours or even 24 hours? Why on Friday night aren't you coming and hanging out with us when we all go to the pub afterwards and you're out of here right at 5:00? Like if they don't understand what actually is going on, they're going to be storytelling. They're going to be telling their own stories about it.
Yep.
So I love that. It's like, that is a huge aspect of crossing the chasm, right? You're in the basement trying to plug the leaky roof. They're up in the bedrooms or the penthouses, not dealing with leaky roofs. You going, hey guys, just as a heads up, not complaining here, just letting you know, where I am right now in life has a leaky roof. I'm willing to deal with that. I'm willing to take that burden of making sure that the roof doesn't fall apart. But it's just going to mean that I'm not going to be able to kind of do some of the things that you guys do when you're up in, this sounds weird, but when you guys do when you're up in the bedroom, you know, you guys are doing different things. We're living in different rooms of the house.
Yep. Last thing, and you hinted at it kind of at the top of this conversation, but I think it might make sense or might be worth talking briefly about the realist mindset. And it seems like, and I thought about it because it seems like Jeff is pretty darn close to that. But I think it's also really important to recognize that it's one thing to say, well, I can't pour myself into work and relationships because I've got to take care of my kid. That's the realist. But if what you're saying is, it's not fair that I can't pour into work or relationships because I've got to take care of this kid, or nobody else has to deal with the things that I have to deal with. And therefore, when they talk to me about their problems, all I see is, all I see is silliness, right? That's different than recognizing it, being honest, being clear, and not storytelling about it. And I think that that's where Jeff, again, from the little we got, it seems like Jeff is there, but that I think is the danger, is just making sure that we're a realist without lying to ourselves, without pretending to be there, but really being a pessimist, really being a victim.
Oh, it's so good. I'm so glad you pulled on that. That's, Viktor Frankl has, huge Viktor. I think everybody should read Man's Search for Meaning every year. I have not done that, but I have read it a few times. But now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm going
read it
to.
again.
Yeah, it's just so good. And he has this awesome quote, which is, when we, I'm going to paraphrase it because I'm going to not get it exactly, but when you can't change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves.
Yep.
That's it. So to your point is like, Jeff can't change his situation with his kid. Like that's the reality of where we are. It's so easy then to go in like, why can't this situation just like, why did this happen to me? Like, it's not fair that they get to do, all you're doing is looking at circumstances and situations and not accept it. Like what we're saying is, Viktor Frankl is saying, accept it. Yep. And then now let's work on changing ourselves. And Jeff seems like he's pretty much there, but I think there's a lot of us that might be in not as dire or not as challenging of situations that we look to. You're in traffic, like the easiest one ever, right?
Yep.
It's raining. Like instead of going like, God, I can't believe it. Did this, that, go like, whoa. Internal. Can I work? I can't change this. This is what the realist does. The realist just accepts it and turns in. The warrior is like, yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing that's going to make me better. They lean in. So we're not even getting there. Just all we're doing is going like, accept and turn inward. If we can just always do that, accept, meaning let it go. Don't carry the extra weight of this thing. Let it go and turn inward.
Mm-hmm. And I think if Jeff or anybody in Jeff or us, but folks in a situation like, if we are able to do that accepting, that turning inward, that not blaming, that not storytelling, truthfully, do that long enough and you'll get to self-esteem. Do that long enough and you'll get to this idea of self-actualization. It's not.
Yeah, I really like that.
It's not like the situation is not the barrier. It's the interpretation of the situation that is the barrier. And so if we can change our interpretation, we can begin to elevate up this hierarchy.
Yeah, that's good. If we change our kind of like perspective on the whole thing, right? Sometimes excellence, right, isn't about climbing. It's about staying rooted right where you are and taking care of some really meaningful, important stuff.
Yep.
That takes courage.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yep. 100%. Absolutely. Okay. Let's wrap it up there. Jeff, hope that was helpful. Thank you for the question. We wish you nothing but the best. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening or watching so you do not miss another episode. For more frameworks and daily practices, visit chasingexcellence.email. And don't forget to tap the link in the show notes for today's full listener guide, where we break down the key ideas and provide actionable steps to help you put them into practice. Until next time, keep building health, finding freedom, and living with your heart on fire.